Welcome back to Butterfly Effect Tarot. My name is Lorraine, and today's topic is: Are you meant to be famous or well known? There are going to be three piles, and the timestamps for each pile will be in the description box in the comment section below. If the readings and messages resonate, please feel free to like and subscribe, and you can also let me know in the comment section if you choose to. For all of my subscribers and returning viewers, as always, a great and huge thank you to you. I appreciate you. To newer viewers, welcome. And if interested after this video, you may return to the channel. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into each one of your messages. Welcome to your reading, pile one, regarding: Are you meant to be famous or well known? So I've already pre-shuffled and pulled the cards. I generally do prefer to pull 5 cards, but 6 cards came out this time. So I will go ahead and identify the cards that came through, and then we can get into your reading. So the first card out for you is the Page of Pentacles, followed by the Hermit. And then we have the Strength card, followed by the Lovers. And then we also have the Page of Swords, followed by the Wheel of Fortune. Bottom of the deck energy is the Eight of Cups. So your reading is quite interesting, and I definitely love the energy. So I'm going to try to break this down the best way that I can. Really quickly, though, it does not matter if you're male or female, masculine or feminine energy. The messages should apply no matter what. For this group, I do feel there is a potential here for quite a few of you to actually be well known, if not famous. I do feel like for this group, you are meant to have some sort of influence or power and authority when it comes to whatever you do for career or for whatever you do for your creative endeavors and for your life's purpose. With the Page of Pentacles and the Hermit and Strength card coming out. The Page of Pentacles is about our talents, our skills, learning and developing, and also manifesting and utilizing those talents and skills that we've acquired to create abundance and prosperity and material wealth in our lives. And then the Hermit, this is an energy of somebody who prefers to be behind the scenes, somebody who likes to stay to themselves. This is a very spiritual energy, somebody who works on themselves a lot. And then the Strength card is about having, again, influence, power and authority, but especially influence over others, the ability to influence others and influence situations. And this is a energy of having like this kind of calm intensity, this kind of calm, you know, authority energy about you. And then it's coming out with the Lovers. So I feel like for some of you, you may be a part of a power couple, right? Because the Strength card is about power and influence, and then the Lovers is usually a very intense, magnetic, alluring kind of, how do you say, the type of couple that tends to draw a lot of attention because of how magnetic and sexy they are. So I do feel like for quite a few of you, you are meant and destined, even with this Wheel of Fortune card out here, to be a part of some sort of influential or very much seen power couple. But I do feel like your role in that pairing would be behind the scenes. So in other words, you would be known, but maybe, for example, this group, these are my well-known authors or even famous authors. These are perhaps people who write movie scripts, but they're like movies that influence others. You could be a writer of music. You could be somebody that's in politics. Like there's something that you specifically will be doing behind the scenes. And if this is a power couple, for those of you where this applies, your future spouse could be the person that's in front of the camera, but it's like maybe you guys are a partner team or for whatever you do for career, and you're the person that handles the actual specifics and the big part of everything behind the scenes. But essentially, for your role, I do feel like you are meant to be very influential. You're meant to have some sort of power of influence over other people. And I do feel like it has to do with healing because of the Hermit card out here. And I feel like with the Page of Pentacles, this is meant to bring you wealth and money. It's like your talents that you've acquired and the skills you've acquired from working on yourself, from your own transformation, with the Eight of Cups at the bottom, from you learning how to walk away from things that no longer serve you, from you, again, with the Page of Swords, being a student of life, taking lessons and learning lessons from the things and the experiences of your past and utilizing them moving forward. And with the Wheel of Fortune, this is meant to bring you quite a bit of abundance. This is fated. This is destined for you. With the Eight of Cups at the bottom, some of you could be destined to relocate or to maybe become very influential when you move to a different, let's just say move far away from home or far away from where you were born or raised. This could also mean that maybe for some of you, you will maybe be well known online. When it comes to behind the scenes, maybe some of you will have, for example, a famous YouTube channel, like a well known or very popular YouTube channel or TikTok channel, or I don't know, Instagram. It's just kind of giving the energy of somebody that is very well loved, very drawn to, very magnetic. I feel a very magnetic energy here, but I do feel like for a majority of you in this group, you prefer to be behind the scenes. However, even though you may be behind the scenes, even though you may be somebody that is, for example, not seen, or you don't like to be in front of the camera, with this strength card and this wheel of fortune, you're going to still be known somehow, even if it's just with this how do you say, this kind of power couple dynamic. But I don't feel like this group are those that like to be in front of the camera. I do feel like you want to make sure that you get credit, right? I think it's important to you that that whatever art or whatever you do for a career or for your life's purpose, it is something that is tied to you and your legacy. And with this Wheel of Fortune, I do feel like you will have a very important legacy. But I feel like it has to do with something spiritual or something that has to do with healing or teaching other people how to heal or how to learn or how to eat. For some of you, you could even have this ability to help other people heal when it comes to their finances, their material, and their circumstances. But there is definitely an energy here where you may have a partner, even if this is not a romantic partner, where it's a power couple dynamic. There will be somebody who is maybe the opposite of you, somebody who could potentially be very assertive and direct and extroverted. And you two are similar, but on two different ends, like yin and yang, and you two come together to have this destined type of life path with one another that I do feel like is going to help and affect others in a beautiful way. This Eight of Cups also is giving me the energy that maybe this destined the outcome and circumstance for you is probably more than likely meant to come in with this Eight of Cups energy after you leave, after you walk away from things that no longer serve you, perhaps after you relocate, after you travel, or after you just walk away from connections or situations that have basically hurt you. And this could even be energetically, even if you physically walking away, maybe mentally and emotionally there's some work done. But I feel like your lessons, the things that you have learned from your life's experiences, your spiritual transformations, your emotional, mental, physical transformations, even the transformations in your finances. I feel like those are meant to be taught to others. Some of you could potentially be in the spotlight, right? You could potentially be known, as I mentioned in the beginning. But even for those of you where you will be seen or in the kind of in the forefront, it'll be with this lover's energy. I feel like it'll be with a partner. And some of you may have a choice, okay? Because the lover's energy could be a choice. Some of you may have a choice to either choose to stay behind the scenes with this with this Page of Pentacles, Hermit, and Strength card, and others of you could choose to be seen and be more of the out there teacher type of energy with this Page of Swords and this Wheel of Fortune. Because I do feel like you are meant to be some sort of teacher or guide. There's something here about you, about people coming to you and learning from you with the Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords, and the Strength card of influence, and this Hermit energy. This is like the Hermit and the Strength kind of gives me Hierophant energy, right? High Priestess. This kind of gives me the energy of like a spiritual guru, somebody that others come to seek out advice and wisdom, somebody who is very assertive, direct, but very humble, very patient, very reserved, and very wise. So yeah, I do feel like this group, you're meant to have some sort of influence, some sort of power. But for some of you, this is going to be with a power couple or a partner. This could be a friend or a business partner, what have you. But I do feel like for that specific group of you, it is more than likely going to be a power couple. Others of you, you may have a choice. You may be able to choose to step out into the forefront, or you may choose to stay behind the scenes but still be acknowledged for your contributions. But I'm definitely getting a teacher here, and with the Wheel of Fortune, this is destined. This is destined. With the Eight of Cups, I feel like you've had a maybe a quite a difficult experience when it comes to connections and relationships, maybe even with family, with friends, with lovers. And you've had to do a lot of healing with this Hermit card and this Strength card. And I feel like with this Page of Pentacles and this Page of Swords and this Wheel of Fortune, you're meant to help teach others how to overcome. I feel like you're meant to help teach others because you have this influential energy about you. It could be your voice, it could simply be your aura, but you have the ability to help influence and teach others how to overcome. With the Eight of Cups, how to walk away, how to choose themselves, how to stand their ground. With the Page of Swords, how to empower themselves, how to get their voice back, how to monetize with this Page of Pentacles their skills and what they've learned and acquired and how to manifest. You have a very powerful energy. But I feel like this is a quiet confidence, right? I feel like people may be able to see it or feel it, but I feel like this is my group where you have all this power, more than likely very attractive, very influential. Even if you're not conscious of it yet, I feel like you possess this strong inner like intense, kind of authority and the ability to have this impact with your words and your energy and your wisdom. But I feel like, again, you're very humble with this. You're very reserved with this. This could be a therapist. These may be my therapists, these may be my psychologists, counselors, coaches. These is just kind of given, again, somebody who is going to help other people. Again, with the pages, you're somebody people are going to come to learn from, and you're going to have influence, and I feel like you're going to be known for this. But I feel like this may be a one-on-one thing, or you're going to be a part of a dynamic where there's somebody else that's in the forefront, but you're behind the scenes, known for what you do, but you're influencing from behind the scenes, so people will know this. It's kind of like, I guess an example would be like Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, how, they both were in front of the camera, right? They were this power couple, but Lucy was like the star. They both were well known, but she was the star. But behind the scenes, Desi was the business person. He was the one that was, kind of orchestrating this, helping orchestrate the scripts and making sure that, doing the creative and the production part of things, to make sure that there was a platform there for Lucy to stand on. And he was known, right? It wasn't like he wasn't known. As time went by, we found out that he was the mind, the genius behind the scenes that was creating everything and making everything happen for Lucy. And he was known right along with her, right? So this is that's just an example of what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, I do feel like you're going to be influential. I feel like you are going to have a lot of kind of authority. You're going to have a voice, and your voice is going to be known. Now, whether that's on a big scale or a small scale, I don't know, because you could be famous, but just somebody that is famous is kind of giving me like oh god, her name, it evades me right now, but Harry Potter's the author of the Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling's. She's very well known, very successful, but she's also somebody who you don't hear a lot about. You don't hear from a lot. She's got her wealth, she's got her abundance, and she really came from nothing. Like, this woman built her way up from nothing. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard her story, but this is a woman that had to overcome quite a bit, and she did it for the most part by herself. And her story is tremendous, but that's kind of what I'm getting. Again, an author, right? Somebody that worked behind the scenes, and somehow what she did had a huge influence over a majority of people over the world in a way. And with the authority, with the Strength card, she had influence. She was able to influence others through her writing and through her craft and her creativity. We don't see her a lot. We don't necessarily hear from her a lot, but we are aware of who she is, right? She still has some level of influence. She still has some level of authority when it comes to her genre of work. Okay, so I guess that's the best way to put it. If you have any questions, obviously about this one, because I'm trying to make sure I covered everything. So if there's anything that I didn't cover in this specific one, please let me know in the comments. Of course, if it resonated on any level, you can also let me know that in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, if you have not already, you can return to my channel after this, and there are other videos, topics, and readings there as well. But other than that, you have a great day. Welcome to your reading pile 2 regarding Are You Meant to Be Famous or Well Known? So I've already pre-shuffled and pulled 5 cards. I'm going to identify the 5 cards that came through and then we will go ahead and get into your message. So the first card out is the Death card followed by the High Priestess. And then we have the Hermit followed by the Queen of Wands. And then the final card out is the Fool card. Bottom of the deck energy is Justice. So, really quickly, it does not matter if you're male or female, masculine or feminine energy, the messages should apply no matter what. Now, for this group, I cannot wait to deep dive. I love this energy. So, are you meant to be famous or well known? Yes. Okay. And we're going to break down how this is to come or how this is projected to become, I guess, because it's going to unfold differently for each of you and in a different area, obviously, depending on your career, how you choose to present yourself into the world. But to be honest with you guys, with the Justice card at the bottom of the deck, I feel like you being famous or well known or some sort of public figure is karmic justice. I do feel like for this group, with the Death card, the High Priestess, and the Hermit energy out here, this suggests to me that this group has went through or are currently going through a significant spiritual transformation. I feel like you have went through a glow up, but I do feel like for this group, you will constantly perhaps go through glow ups throughout your life. But as you move into this Queen of Wands full energy and you're kind of putting yourself out there, you are more than likely going to evolve into this person if you have not already. Because when you have the Death card, the Hermit, and the High Priestess, this is the energy of somebody who does not like to really be seen. This is a person that's very reserved, private, really looking within, very much closed off and extremely protective over their energy. So I feel like for this group, you guys are more than likely very introverted, or you are people who tend to like to not be around a crowd, or you could be very private. And again, I do feel like that's because you've been hurt, you've been deceived, and you have been, how do you say, there's been injustice in your life as a result of others and just in life's experiences. But I feel like, for example, this is a type of group of people where maybe you have been bullied. Growing up, you could have been lied to, cheated on, stolen from. You could have dealt with envy and jealousy. But I feel like for this group, you've had a lot of certain experiences in life that has been, I guess, put there to try to dim your light, to try to kind of force you into the background, maybe kind of having you question your worthiness or making you kind of feel insecure. Whether it worked or not, I do feel like with this Death card, this High Priestess and Hermit, you are meant to go through a transformation and kind of move out of that energy of and this box that others have tried to put you in. It's kind of giving the energy of the underdog, the person who was underestimated, the person who may have not been seen as the prettiest or the more handsome, or the person that people made you think or felt or projected onto you that you weren't the smartest, the brightest, or you could not be seen, or you should not be seen, right? This could have been my group of people who were silenced very early in life or felt the need to be that way. And I feel like you're going through a transformation where you're going to break free, right? You're going to step into your power. There's going to be a massive glow up from the inside out. With the Queen of Wands and the full energy here, especially, this is free spirited energy. Both cards represent somebody who is bold, courageous, they're seen, they're heard, and they take a leap of faith. So you're going to be taking a leap of faith into something. And I do feel like it is something very creative. With this Queen of Wands, it's something that you're very good at. You are going to be extremely admired. You are going to be, however you view yourself, when I go into saying this, you are going to be very sexy, very attractive, very much sought after. There's a very kind of mysterious, enigmatic energy about you. Someone who is not to be crossed. You're going to be very bold in your words, in your actions, in your aura, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you smell, the way you speak, the products or the services or the whatever you do for career that you put out is going to be very well received. With Justice at the bottom, that is a card of respect. So I do feel like you're going to be respected and held to a high honor. Now, when you are in this energy of power and authority and influence, because I do feel like you will have a lot of influence. Now, if that's on a small level where you just have like a very dedicated and even maybe obsessive fan following, That's fine. But for some of you, it could be a huge platform. It's going to depend on each of you. But public figure, no matter what, with the Queen of Wands, this is somebody who is seen and admired. This is the star of the show. This is somebody who is the star because this is the energy of someone who attracts attention without trying. And in your case, you attract attention without trying because you don't want it. For some of you, if not all of you, you're not interested in being seen. You don't need that type of validation. I don't even think you want that type of validation. But I don't think it's about validation at all. I think for this group, a part of this is a part of your journey. I feel like this is inevitable. This is destined and fated. Because when you have the Justice card at the bottom, it always reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune because it's about karma and balancing the scales. What goes around comes around. So I feel like for you, this is destined and fated. And as I stated earlier, it's karmic justice. Anyone who has bullied you, they have hurt you, they have tried to tear down your confidence and self esteem. They have tried to make you feel like you were not good enough in one area or the other. It doesn't matter if you showed up in a justice energy where you were fair and loving and harmonious and trying to put out good vibes. Others may not have matched that energy. They may have tried to tear you down and take advantage of you. Because of that, these people are now meant as a karmic justice, as balancing of the scales, are now meant to see you shine. And I do mean shine bright. Even if this is on a small scale, you're destined to be immensely successful for whatever you do. Now, for some of you, you could have a career or be known for something to do with the occult, right? You could be a tarot reader, astrology, human design. It's just something, especially with the high priestess here, where you tend to have a strong connection with the higher power, and this is basically you potentially being able to be a voice, right? Like a transmit, like a translator between the realms, right? This could be something like that, something in the occult, something hidden. For others of you, this could also be just a healing profession, like a nurse or a doctor, but one that's well known and very much accomplished and celebrated. But more specifically, this could be my therapist, my motivational speakers, my life coaches. This could also be my authors, like best-selling authors. There's something I feel like for a number of you where this has to do with you using what you've went through and had to transform from, and using the power and influence and the beauty and attractiveness that you have evolved more and more into to influence and help other people overcome where you came from, right? Kind of balancing the scales. And again, there's a lot of balance out here with the high priestess energy. This is the energy of the dark and the light, yin and yang. This is the balance. And then we have the balancing energy of the high priestess and hermit with the Queen of Wands and the Fool card. Again, these are polar opposite energies, yin and yang. Some of you could be Libras, or you could have Libra strong in your chart, or there could be some water signs here, especially more like scorpionic, like maybe Plutonian heavy in your chart. But for this group, I feel like there is going to be a balance to your energy. I do feel like even though you're well known, whether that's on a small level or a big level, you're somebody where you may still be very private and protective over your energy. I feel like you're going to, and I'm going to give an example, okay, but I don't want you guys to take this out of context because I'm not saying this will be your actual trajectory or this is the level of fame you'll get to. It's possible, right? But I'm just giving this as an example. We have Beyonce, we have Rihanna, we have Angelina Jolie, simply because these three come to mind. Very much operating in a Queen of Wands energy and a full energy. These are energies of people who are very creative with their music, with their movies, with their acting, with the products that they put out. And it's very well received. They're seen as bosses, very alluring, magnetic. They draw in a lot of attention. And the Queen of Wands energy will have a very dedicated fan base or following, whether it's small or large, because this is an alluring energy. These people, however, these three beautiful women, they are not accessible, right? It kind of gives me like Keanu Reeves as well. Keanu Reeves was, he is well known, especially for like Matrix and his other roles. Very well respected, very spiritual, and very attractive, very well sought after. But he's not accessible. He's like a unicorn. We kind of see these energies here and there, right? We don't have access to them. We see them in interviews once in a while when they do interviews. Mind you, Beyonce usually does, and Rihanna has kind of pushed away from it. But when they do this, we kind of get to get that kind of once in a while kind of attachment to them, but then they're gone. So I feel like for you, you will be seen, you will be known, but you will also kind of be unknown in a way, right? Like you will be out of sight. People won't actually be able to just get to you, or you're not going to be constantly putting yourself on social media only when it's necessary. Only you're the type of energy where you have all this power, this attractiveness, this influence, but you may only speak when you need to. You may only speak when it makes sense. You know, you're the energy of somebody who doesn't speak for the sake of speaking. You speak to be heard and understood and to have some sort of a positive impact, which is why I feel like you're well respected. Even if you're an actor or a musician and this is what you're known for, something about your energy is going to always be kind of kept away from the public, right? They'll have access to your creativity. They'll be able to see the version in the side of you that you want them to see, that you allow them to see. But there's always going to be this kind of high priestess hermit energy where they don't have access, very private. Like your private life is going to be kept very much intact, and you're going to have very strong boundaries about that aspect. But the person that you are outside of the public and the person that you are in the public may seem different. So for example, with like Beyonce, for example, when she performs on stage, she's very powerful, she's very extroverted, very fired up, very intense, and in her energy, in her zone. But off the stage, she tends to be a little bit more reserved and kind of laid back and kind of behind the scenes. So this is an energy that I'm getting. It doesn't matter how well known you are, there's always going to be a certain part of you, especially on a spiritual level, that is very protected and hidden. And I do feel like you will be spiritually protected in this. I'm going to be honest, because when we have the Justice card at the bottom of the deck, and then we also have the Death card and the High Priestess and the Hermit, these are all cards of spirituality. You are going to be extremely, you already are protected, but especially in this energy where now you're being seen and your energy itself is more accessible, you will be very protected in this, right? Because I feel like this is divinely guided. You may not recognize yourself once you come into this energy where you're taking these leap of faith, you're trusting in the divine, you're bold, you're courageous, you're saying what you want, you're doing what you want, you're loving life, and you're just in this kind of intense, passionate, creative, powerful energy. The people around you are going to be shook, because I feel like this is my group of people again, who you kind of sit to the back of the room, or you like to sit off in the corner and really observe and watch and take everything in. You may have close friends, but if, for the most part, you tend to be very guarded and protective over your space and yourself. You're somebody who does a lot of work on yourself. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly healing from things of the past. And I feel like you may have held yourself. The reason this karmic justice is, I feel like, also coming out is because I feel like you have handled a lot of the harshness of life and people with grace. I feel like for the most part, you may have walked away or kind of allowed things to go away and trusted that things would work out and that justice would work out in your favor. And that's what this is, right? People that counted you out, people that thought they had, buried your name or hurt you or demeaned you or dimmed your light so far that it would never shine again. You're going to shine brighter than ever. Okay, whatever career or whatever you go into, you're going to be the best or amongst the best within that career field, within that creative endeavor. You're going to be known for being amongst the most top tier, if not the top tier, but still very humble, very reserved, very observant, very spiritual. Again, there's a beautiful balance. It's like you're not going to be losing the core essence of who you are in this. And I feel like you're going to be able to control and balance out being seen, heard, and admired, but still maintaining the true essence and internal values and lessons that you have learned. There's going to be a beautiful balance here, right? Now, yes, like I said, there's always going to be a hater when you have this kind of power. But I feel like in your case, for every one person that dislikes you, there are going to be 100 or thousands, or for some of you, even millions, for a couple of you that are going to love you, right? Because again, with justice, you're going to be admired. You're going to be looked to. Some of you could even be known for a role that you play in the political field or in the legal or justice system, or even in the military on some level. But there's definitely an energy of you being seen and heard and known and admired and loved and well respected. Okay. And again, I feel like you're not going to recognize yourself. I don't think in a million years that a lot of you would have even imagined being somebody that is a public figure on any level. because I feel like that's kind of polarizing with who you actually are. And I don't think anyone that has ever known you would feel this way, because you, again, you give the vibe of somebody that likes to stay to themselves, very quiet, and maybe some of you could even be perceived as shy. But I feel like it's just, again, a protective mechanism. And as you're healing, I feel like you're evolving into this Queen of Wands, whether you know it or not. And I do feel like some of you have a choice, right? I get that strongly, because the Two of Swords did show itself, as did the Eight of Swords. And I feel like, again, there's an anxiety or fear that comes with being in the spotlight on any level. And I feel like there may be a decision, right? A decision that needs to be made, whether or not you want to take a leap of faith with this Fool card and put yourself out there. But I feel like it's destined for you. I feel like this is what has been meant for you. I feel like a lot of what you've went through has been very much a cause and effect of this, especially with the Justice card. That's about cause and effect. It's like the cause of the things that you've went through, that you've had to heal from, is leading you to this, right? It's a balancing. It's a matter of, oh, you've always had to be in the dark. You've always had to be hidden. You've always been pushed to the back. You've always been chosen last, or you've always been made to feel like you weren't enough, even when you showed up at your best. And that may have been something you resigned to and accepted it and found comfort in it. But the balance comes out when it says, but this is not who you're meant to be. Maybe you just needed to heal and align that internal part of you, so that as you transform internally, that light can shine even brighter. I love it. I love this pile. Like, when the cards came out, it was very straightforward, very straightforward. And I feel like this is something that you deserve. I do. And even if, again, even if there is still some fear and anxiety once you move into this power and this spotlight, I do feel like the level of confidence you are going to have in this role with this Queen of Wands and this Fool card, your confidence is going to be through the roof. I don't mean arrogance, because like I said, you're still humble and it's seen, but your confidence, your power, your passion, your voice, the way you speak, like everything about you, I feel is going to be very captivating to the people that are drawn to your energy. I feel like you will have this level of influence that is effortless, and I feel like this is always who you have been. I feel like this is always who you've been, but I feel like this is a part of yourself that you have tucked away and caged as a means to protect it. And that may have been meant, because in the process of protecting it, you were also feeding it, nurturing it, and growing it. So that once you let this energy and this part of yourself out, it will have already been well taken care of. And it'll have been made stronger, so that nothing and no one can come up against you. Now, of course, if that resonated on any level, please feel free to like and subscribe, and you can let me know in the comments if you choose. And if interested, there are other topics, videos, and readings on my channel as well. Other than that, you have a wonderful day. Welcome to your reading, Pile 3, regarding, are you meant to be famous or well known? So I've already pre-shuffled and pulled 5 cards. We're going to identify the 5 cards that came out, and then we will get into your reading. So the first card out is the Temperance card, followed by Justice. And then we have the Knight of Wands, followed by the Tower. And then the final card out is the Queen of Swords. Bottom of the deck energy is the Chariot. So really quickly, it does not matter if you're male or female, masculine or feminine energy, the messages should apply no matter what. Now for this group, this would be my group of powerhouse individuals. For this group, let me first make the statement that you are meant to be somebody in a high-ranking position, somebody with power and authority to make very important decisions that create some sort of change. You're meant to be in a position where you have influence to create balance where there is none. So for this group, I do feel like you are meant to be known, but I feel like this is more on a level of public, right? Like in a, I guess, let me see, like maybe like a public service type of job. And what I mean by public service is, like, for example, this feels like my politicians or people that are, meant to be like in the legal field, or in some sort of position, maybe an activist, for example, maybe even a teacher, a coach, a therapist. But it's definitely an energy here that you are somebody who is meant to have a lot of power, a lot of authority, and a lot of control, that not only over on your own life, where you will have the ability to choose which direction you go in and which levels of success you achieve, but also You are meant to be somebody that creates change and stability and harmony in other people's lives. And you are meant to be known for that. Now, it is possible that for a number of you, you could be known on a massive level, but this feels very much like somebody who has a lot of respect, like very well respected, very honorable kind of position, because we have justice and we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords and justice both are about making the right decision. They're both about bringing order to an unstable position, especially when you have the Tower coming out before the Queen of Swords, signifying that in this group, where there's instability, where there's destruction, chaos, and turmoil, you come in as this kind of peacemaker, if you will. You bring justice, and this could even be karmic, right? Like this could even be people who are going through mental issues, emotional issues, and maybe again, if you're an author or if you're a coach or even a therapist of some sort, you essentially come in and create a level of harmony and a level of clarity in people's lives. And like I said, some of you could be very well known for this, right? Especially if you are an author, especially if you are like a Supreme Court judge, or something like that. But there is definitely an energy here where you are meant to be seen, but it's mostly, I'm getting more of a power dynamic here. I'm getting more of somebody who holds a very high ranking position. This could even be you owning your own business, but it's an extremely successful business that many people are drawn to for your wisdom, for your advice. There's a very strong energy here of somebody that is very wise, somebody that has maybe overcome a lot, especially with that Knight of Wands going into the Tower and then the Queen of Swords. And it's almost like what you've learned, this level of inner peace and balance and emotional intelligence that you have is meant to help other people. And this can apply in different ways. This is a general reading. It is not a one-on-one. So that's why I'm saying this energy could apply to various industries. But again, you have the Temperance card, which is about balance. You have the Justice card, which is about balance. You have the Queen of Swords, which is about creating balance. And then again, the Justice card and the Queen of Swords are Libra energy. So there could be quite a few of you could be Librans, or you could have quite a few of those placements or prominent placements in your chart. But it's definitely giving the energy of somebody who is unbothered, right? Like, and the reason I say that is because your energy is suggesting that you're not somebody to be crossed and you're not somebody that's easily ruffled, right? It just feels very strong, very stern, very in your power. This feels like somebody who, I'm trying to find the right wording here because this definitely feels very intense, like very passionate, very fiery, very assertive. This is kind of giving the energy of maybe a rebel, right? But a rebel with a cause. Like I'm getting a peaceful energy here, but it's also a very assertive energy. Like there's a beautiful again, balance. Yeah. There's balance here, like the yin and yang. Like you're very humble, very peaceful, very reserved, very demure, but there's also with this Knight of Wands and Queen of Swords energy and also the Chariot, an aspect of you that is very fiery, very intense, very driven, very determined to overcome obstacles, and somebody with a lot of influence, and you probably are great with your words. So you're able to help other people overcome obstacles and turmoil, because the Knight of Wands is about overcoming situations and circumstances and roadblocks and things that are in their path on their way to achieving their desired goals. There's no fear, there's no doubt. And then the following that one is the Tower, which the Tower is chaos, it is turmoil. So again, I feel like you're a leader of some sort. This is what you're meant to do. You're meant to be a leader of your own business or in some sort of an industry or company where you are the person that creates the harmony. You are the person that creates positive change. You are the person that speaks up. You're very fearless. You're very bold. And I do feel like you're meant to be known for this. And for a couple of you, like I said, depending on where you go in life or where you're headed, you could be known on a huge level as somebody very prominent. But for others of you, this is you being known within a certain industry or for a certain company or creative endeavor that you put out that other people are just drawn and gravitated towards. But I feel like your energy is very closed off, right? You more than likely this very patient and understanding person, but your energy, there's a lot of boundaries. So even if you are well known, I don't feel like other people will have easy access to you, but you are driven to succeed. The Knight of Wands and Chariot at the bottom, the Chariot is about being in control of our own path. It's an energy of being a leader. You have a lot of energy out here, again, of having a lot of type of, again, high ranking energy over yourself and over other people, perhaps even over the world in some way. And what I mean by that is if you're in a position where you can create change in certain policies or certain situations or circumstances, even if this is on a personal level where you're helping people overcome their own struggles, their own tower moments, this affects the world because each person that you help in life, especially when it comes to the mental, emotional aspects and spiritual aspects of life, they go out and that energy, every person that they help is then helped. So you can help the world by helping one person. But I feel like you're helping a lot of people. I feel like you're very respected and your energy is like you're very admired. Like you're meant to be very much somebody who is admired, somebody who is looked at with a very strong energy of honor and dedication, somebody who is not, again, not to be crossed. Like this is very much a force. Like your energy feels very, again, you may not be in this energy right now, right? That's very possible. But for the most part, this is who you're meant to become. And the road to getting to this type of balance and harmony within yourself, where it now affects the world, is not an easy road. Like to get to this feels like the Queen of Swords has been through it, right? It does not matter if you're male or female. This archetype has been through it, which is why the energy is so guarded. And this is also an energy of you being very fair and diplomatic, not somebody who you look to achieve balance where it affects and helps everyone involved, right? You are about the right thing. You're probably somebody who roots for the underdog, right? This is the energy of somebody who is not, you're very trustworthy, right? Your energy is suggesting you're trustworthy. You are very much somebody who is divinely guided, and you are somebody who seeks your own inner guidance. You are not somebody that is easily influenced or swayed in one way or the other. You see things clearly and you see things in an unbiased way. You see both sides of a situation and you make a decision and a ruling and judgment call accordingly. This is, again, I feel like for this group, there are a number of you that are meant to be in the legal field, or you're meant to be in some sort of a position where you use that sword energy, that the level of intellect and emotional intelligence you have to change something. Even if this is you being an activist who fights for the rights of other people, even if this is you being an author who basically tells your own story that other people cling to, and it helps create balance and harmony in their life. Even if you're a coach who use your words and communication to speak life into other people and to speak, again, more harmony into other people's lives where there is tower moments and tower energy. You are meant to be known, but I feel like more you're meant to be influential. You're meant to use your power for good. This is inner power and external power because the Knight of Wands is here and so is the Chariot. I do feel like this group is very attractive with this Knight of Wands energy and also this Queen of Swords. I feel like there's a very alluring energy about you. So I feel like for a lot of you, your physical appearance will help to increase the level of power and influence you have. And I don't mean that necessarily in a shallow way, but it is what it is. I do feel like you're very attractive, but I also feel like you're very guarded with your energy. And it makes it hard for you to be corrupted, if you will, right? So if you're in an industry where there's a lot of corruption, you're the person that comes in and you cut all that out with the sword. You're the person that comes in and you make a judgment call, you make a decision, and you do not back down, you do not waver, you do not deter. You call it like it is, and you use your power and authority to put in place an energy where this will change for the better. Again, even if this is you helping people in their personal life, you give clear, concise, straight communication, whether this is in a book or verbally. that helps other people and it adjusts the way they think. It kind of shifts their mindset and the way they see the world, which has a massive impact in their personal lives. But yet this feels like my group of this feels like my group of rebels. And I don't feel like this is like you causing trouble, right? I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like this is you coming in to create, again, peace and harmony where there is disturbance. So you could be a person that is very intimidating to other people, even if you don't mean to be, because your energy doesn't give aggressive, right? It gives that you could be that way, right? With the Knight of Wands and Chariot, but it doesn't give aggressive. This gives ruling with an iron fist, but with a soft heart, if you will. Like you're very kind. I feel like on the outside, you give the energy of RBF, like somebody who's very stoic, but on an internal level, you are very soft and loving and compassionate on a heart space level. And I feel like that's where the balance comes in. You know when to operate in your yin energy and you know when to operate in your yang energy. A beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy. And that energy, it comes together and fuels you in whatever you're doing. But this is definitely my group who are meant to be powerhouses. Whatever you're in, if you want to share what that is, or if you're aspiring to be a teacher, a coach, a therapist in the legal field, in the political field, in an activist, a person that's trying to help people change, that are trying to teach, that are trying to heal, whatever that is, I'd love to know because this group feels very influential. This group feels very prestigious. This feels very prestigious. And I do love that for you. I feel the energy feels so good. Like I feel safe with this energy. I feel safe and protected, right? The energy feels very safe and it feels very comforting, but also very intense. Yeah, this is a very interesting group. Yeah, I'd love to see how this would turn out for those drawn to this pile. But I am going to leave it there because I could go on with this energy all day. So I'm going to leave it there. And of course, if it resonated on any level that you're aware of, you may feel free to let me know in the comments. Also, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And if interested, you may return to my channel. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. But other than that, you have a great day.